many of these things appear fraud.
In a high-stakes diplomatic effort, the United States, Russia, and Ukraine have convened in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, to discuss a cessation of hostilities, focusing primarily on attacks targeting critical energy infrastructure and maritime security in the Black Sea. The Kremlin has reaffirmed that its agreement to refrain from targeting Ukrainian energy sites remains intact, despite accusations from Kyiv of continued violations. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov, addressing reporters earlier today, emphasized that Russia remains committed to the 30-day ceasefire on energy infrastructure, which was brokered in a call between Russian President Vladimir Putin and U.S. President Donald Trump last week. So far, there have been no other orders from the president, Peskov stated. Our armed forces are following all instructions of the Supreme Commander-in-Chief, but of course we are monitoring the situation very closely. Our American interlocutors are also able to monitor the situation and draw the appropriate conclusions. However, Ukraine has raised concerns, insisting that formal documentation is necessary to enforce the ceasefire. Ukrainian officials argue that without a signed agreement, Russian forces could continue their assaults with impunity. Ukrainian representatives are in Riyadh, holding separate meetings with the U.S. delegation in what is being described as shuttle diplomacy. The format of these indirect talks involves U.S. negotiators moving between Russian and Ukrainian delegations in an attempt to broker a resolution. Beyond energy infrastructure, securing maritime routes in the Black Sea has emerged as another critical issue. The U.S. delegation, led by National Security Council official Andrew Peake and State Department advisor Michael Anton, is working to establish a maritime ceasefire that would ensure the uninterrupted movement of shipping vessels in the region. Russian officials have acknowledged that discussions with Washington have been technical and productive, but stressed that several complex issues remain unresolved. Russian delegation leader Grigory Karasin emphasized that the primary focus is securing safe shipping routes in the Black Sea and preventing further escalation in the conflict. Despite diplomatic talks, hostilities persist. Overnight, Russia launched another wave of airstrikes on Kyiv, marking the third consecutive day of bombardments. Ukrainian authorities confirmed that a 37-year-old man was hospitalized with shrapnel injuries, while multiple residential buildings suffered damage in the attack. Additionally, Russia's defense ministry reported that its air defense units intercepted and destroyed 28 Ukrainian drones overnight. The ministry detailed that 12 drones were downed over the Kursk region, another 12 over the Rostov region, and 4 over Crimea, Krasnodar, and the Sea of Azov. Meanwhile, in the southeastern Zaporizhzhia region, a Russian attack left a 54-year-old woman wounded and caused significant damage to residential buildings. Ukrainian officials have condemned these actions, labeling them a direct violation of the ceasefire spirit. Following separate discussions with U.S. officials in Riyadh, Ukraine's defense minister Rustem Umerov described the talks as productive and focused. In a statement posted on social media, Umerov reiterated President Volodymyr Zelensky's goal of achieving a just and lasting peace for Ukraine and all of Europe. The U.S. delegation, led by White House National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, is working to ensure that the negotiations address not only ceasefire logistics but also confidence-building measures. Among the issues under discussion is the return of Ukrainian children taken by Russia, which has been a major point of contention throughout the war. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov acknowledged that Russia and the United States share a common understanding regarding the need to move towards a settlement. However, he noted that numerous unresolved issues remain, including verification measures, peacekeeping arrangements, and freezing territorial lines. Peskov also highlighted that the ongoing negotiations in Riyadh are primarily focused on technical matters, particularly the security of Black Sea shipping. Both sides acknowledge that securing maritime routes is essential for regional stability and economic interests. The international community is closely monitoring the talks in Riyadh, with world leaders expressing cautious optimism about the possibility of a temporary ceasefire. European Union officials have urged all parties to commit to a sustainable de-escalation process, while NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg emphasized that any agreement must include long-term security guarantees for Ukraine. Meanwhile, China has reiterated its call for diplomatic solutions, advocating for a broader peace framework that takes into account both Ukrainian sovereignty and Russian security concerns. As negotiations continue, the coming days will be crucial in determining whether a partial ceasefire can be successfully implemented. Key issues remain, including Ukraine's demand for a formalized agreement, Russia's insistence on broader strategic discussions, and the role of U.S. mediation in bridging the gap between the warring sides. For now, the world watches as Riyadh hosts these critical discussions, with the hope that diplomacy can, at least temporarily, silence the guns and pave the way for a more comprehensive resolution to this devastating conflict.